and we can pause during a certain portion of the meeting. Otherwise, we will move forward. I will start sharing my screen. Okay. Today is December 2nd, 2020. Our guest speaker today is Gary Shafer of the Southern Illinois Airport. Welcome to Rotary. Thank you, Carl Flowers, for being our greeter today. It's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone could please rise. Gail Kronig, please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Be glad to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Gil. Time for our moment of reflection, and today's moment of reflection is a bit somber. I figured we'd take a moment of silence, and then I just got a message that Christine McGuire has some information to share as well. So I hope everybody has already heard at this point, but on November 22nd, our fellow Rotarian Jill Gobert passed away. So if everybody could please just take a moment of silence to remember her. Thank you. And Christine, you had an update you wanted to share?
Yeah, we are raising funds to install a bench by Campus Lake for Jill. She loved the lake and walking by it. The giving site went live yesterday afternoon about 3 o'clock, and it is at this point 114% of the goal. So we are now discussing, since we've been so successful, what else we can do to acknowledge Jill and remember her. Initial ideas are going to expand the garden area around the bench by the lake and perhaps add a second bench. So if you would like information or the link to the website, it is salukifunder.siu.edu, and you should be able to find it there. It's a really nice bench. Okay, that's all I have.
Very
Thank you,
good.
Christine. Could you share that link in the chat window for us, please? So now we're going to switch gears a little bit for song time. It's the first Wednesday of the month, so hopefully we can be a little bit more cheery with this because we should have some December birthdays. Who's got a December birthday this month?
I do.
Anybody? Jim Grant's got a December birthday this month. Who else?
I don't have a December birthday, but I wasn't here for the November birthdays, and mine was last week on Thanksgiving. So.
Oh, well, and you got the best of birthday presents, a big meal and some pie, right?
Yes, I did. I cooked it all myself, but oh well.
I see Shane's got a birthday this month. That's just the ones I can see right now, so I'm sure I'm missing somebody somewhere, but let's go with happy birthday. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Birthday to you.
Birthday, dear Rotarian.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you all. Happy birthday. We've got a couple guests joining us today. Jerry Malumbi, could you please introduce any guests that we have today?
Oh, it's my privilege to introduce guests, and it's our privilege as Rotary to have guests. And today we have a regular guest with us, our Beck. We also have Gary Shafer, who is our speaker, and I'm sure he'll tell us more about himself a little later on. And we also have Chief Stan Reno with us today. I was privileged to meet with he and Ella and Shane and Rick for a Zoom meeting a couple of days ago or yesterday regarding a plan that we're going to announce in the near future. So, and we invited him as a guest, and he's here today. So we're very pleased to have you, Chief Reno. So a round of applause for all of our guests.
Yo.
Thank you, Jerry. Time for some club announcements today. Club officer elections for Rotary year 2021-2022. We are still in need of some folks to fill in some officer roles. Please, if you're interested in a committee chair role or one of these roles, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll be reaching out to some of you here shortly as well. We do need to know by the January 13th club meeting. So those positions do need to be filled. District grant project update. The Kiwanis Club, the inclusive playground at Turley Park is already up and running. I did see that there were kids playing on it last week. Our project, I don't believe that our portion of the project has been installed yet. We're part of the phase 2 funding, and they do need more funding overall for the Kiwanis project. But we as a club also need a couple $100 last I checked to finish out our funding of the project. So whether we do some fundraising for that or just solicit donations, I'm not sure how we're going to close that out yet, but we do need to finalize that. If you have not gone over to Turley Park and checked it out, I highly recommend doing so. It's a really neat playground that is inclusive for all. Foundation donation challenge, our matching club donation up to $100. I want to thank Linda Meredith for that donation in November and Gail White for his December pledge. And we've got Rotarians lined up all the way through June of 2021. So if you're interested in helping us out with that foundation donation, your name's not on the list yet, like I said, please let me know, let Shane know, let Jim know, and we'll get you on the list. Thank you, Rotarians. Also, thank you to each of the Rotarians who helped us out this week with club duties. We don't have a clipboard we're handing around each week, but we are sending out the doodle poll in our weekly updates. So please sign up for those, and many hands make light work. Club announcements. As of the last update I received, we have 42 projects completed and 25 more underway. If you've made food donations, I'm the champion for the canned goods donation drive right now. I'm up to 40 cans already that I've gotten note have been donated. We've got scouting for food bins throughout the region at various grocery stores, Dollar General. We would like to have them at more, but some of the stores are not permitting that right now. So whether you shop at the Co-op or Kroger or stop at Dollar General to pick up a soda on the way home, please drop a can or two into that bin, or let me know and I can swing by your house or another means to pick up a food donation. I believe, Faith, I saw an email from you recently about some cards. How's that project going?
Sorry, I'm on 2 different Zoom meetings. Okay. Let me turn that volume down. I had posted on my Facebook page that so far we are good as far as finishing that project off. I have 100 cards in my possession. And then with RSVP, we are still working with that group to get even more cards. But as far as Rotary is concerned, would like to thank Gayla and then a couple of neighbors that have pitched in for the cards. So we are good to go on that one. And we are also done with the other veterans card program. All of those cards have been set aside for whenever they resume the Veterans Honor Flight.
Great. So there's
So both of those projects are done.
43, possibly 44 of our projects are completed. Thank you guys all so much. Complete list, as always, can be found at rotaryofcarbondale.org/centennial. Our active service project right now, the Carbondale Warming Center lunch sponsorship. Today's lunch is beef stew with crusty French bread, creamed corn, tossed salad, and fruit salad. This is funded by our members through your giving. So when you receive your invoice, if you pay for your meals and additional funds there, it will all go towards the Heartland Catering and Warming Center project. Gail or Jerry, do you have an update on the Carbondale Warming Center materials support project?
Nothing new that I'm aware of. They continue to have need for disposable plates, eating utensils, coffee, and basic food provisions. So, and also cash. So as Rick said, by us contributing to cover the cost of what our normal lunch tab would be through the club, we're helping Heartland Catering and also the Warming Center. And then, as always, if anyone has something that you would like to donate, and if you would like to have it picked up and delivered, I'm always happy to do that.
Great. Thank you, Gail. Ella, you had an update you sent me a note about that you'd like to update us on another one of our club projects.
Yes. This is the International Services Project. And for those who aren't familiar, this project started a little over 5 years ago with the Rotary Club in Pignon, Haiti. And Pam Umlauf Brown and I went to Pignon and spent a week doing some assessment and familiarity development. And since that time, we have given them a portable generator so that the physicians didn't have to deliver babies without any light at a health center near the hospital that we had visited. And then our second part of the project was the club worked very hard, fundraisers and all, to send them an industrial quality washer and dryer so that they didn't have to wash their hospital bed linens and other things in the drainage ditch behind the hospital, that instead they could actually use a washer and dryer. That project, however, though our washer and dryer was delivered, probably almost, it's been over a year, the washer and dryer, they found some problems in the system for the support of the washer and dryer. So they're still working on that, and we're working with some people some physicians who visit often in North Carolina to make sure that project also gets finalized. Our third one, recently this summer, we sent masks to Pyongyang for the hospital, or however they saw fit. We made and mailed 325 masks along with about 50 t-shirts, which was our effort, a t-shirt mask that didn't require sewing, along with instructions for how to do the mask. And so we had a response from them initially thanking us for it. But I had another note from them very recently which says, "Thank you very much. We are so glad to hear from you. We have distributed the masks to the patients coming to the hospital. We do not have a lot of cases of COVID-19 in Pyongyang, about 24 cases. All activities are normally going on normally. Schools, hospitals, charities, churches, markets, etc. Again, thank you very much for thinking of us. We appreciate all that you do for Pyongyang, Haiti." So anyway, that note that in Pyongyang, Haiti, they have 24 cases. I thought we would really be happy in hearing that in particular. So thank you, and let's keep up the work and helping them out.
Thank you, Ella. Gail White, you had an announcement to make.
Yes, I just wanted to let everyone know that this weekend, this Saturday, specifically would be the annual Lights Fantastic Parade event in town. And because of the COVID-19 situation, the parade has been canceled. However, the event has been modified somewhat. And instead of the floats traveling down Illinois Avenue and people watching from the sidelines, the floats will be parked at the Washington Street venue that the city has been developing just south of Main Street. And the floats will be all aglow both Saturday night and Sunday night after 6 p.m. So our Rotary float will be among those that will be displayed, and everyone is invited to come out to see not only our float and support Rotary's activities, but also the other floats that will be on display Saturday and Sunday nights after 6.
That is great news, Gail. Thank you.
Rick, could I footnote that? The float that's out there is the big globe float, and it is the one that the media always picks up. So it showed up in the Carbondale Times.
Right.
And I'd just like to recognize one of our long-term members, Mike Neal, who during his presidency acquired that float for us way back at the almost beginning, the second year of the Lights Fantastic. So it was one of those choices that I wondered about when we made it, and I'm just thrilled that we made such a good choice at that time, and that Mike initiated that. So that's a trivia.
Hey, just so you know, I took the entire year's budget and cut all the other funding to buy that because my sister was the coordinator of the parade. So that's what we did it.
I withdraw my compliment.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, we're moving along into district news. The membership challenge district-wide, the top three clubs in growth will get some funding from the district, as well as locally in our club, the Rotarian that brings up the most new Rotarians by the end of December. We'll get $100 donated in their name. And then, Shane, do you have any updates on where we stand as a club for that challenge? No, we were up
Yeah,
there.
we have. Yeah, we've slid down to about 4th or 5th. There is a club in O'Fallon that has added over 10 members this year. The Mount Vernon Club has added a satellite club. So as that satellite club got added, they added 10 or 12 people behind that satellite club. So we've slid down the list. We're not in the contention right now, but if we can launch that club in Murfreesboro by the end of the year, that'll pick us up 8 or 10 more people. So we're relatively close on getting that club launched. So stay tuned. If I can get 1 or 2 more people that are willing to sign on for that club will go live by the end of the year.
Yep. And I shared one person with you today that I don't know if you've gotten that count, but we're one.
Yep, I've added that person. I believe he's ready to go.
Good. Rotary International news, some polio updates. As always, you can check out the End Polio Now pages through My Rotary to get more information. But we had an update that wild polio was eradicated in Africa earlier this year. So we need to continue to push for polio eradication. So there's the polioeradication.org update that you guys can check each and every week. Now it's time for some of your good news. Who's got some good news to share? We'll start off with Shane. I saw his hand go up.
I spoke to our friend and fellow Rotarian, Jim Chapman. He wanted everybody to know that he's doing well. For those that know Jim, he's been extremely busy with the Center of Environment and Justice. He's doing lots of things. And he is planning on rejoining us in the Zoom world here sometime after Thanksgiving. So if you see him out in the community, welcome him back to Rotary. He's willing to reach back out to us, so he's doing well. And then I'd also like to challenge our police chief, Stan. I see that he's over there coughing in the corner. You know, to say a couple words, to introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about what you're doing in the community. You have a second where you can introduce yourself a little bit to the rest of the club?
Certainly, thank you. Again, I'm Stan Reno. I've been with the police department for almost 24 years. I'm a lifelong resident of Carbondale and worked my way through the department and have served as the deputy chief for the last 7 years, and then been asked to fill the role of interim chief as we move forward through the police chief selection process. There's a number of things that are going on. One of the biggest projects we have right now we're collecting coats for kids and toys as part of our Christmas store. There's so many other things that's been modified this year, and we aren't able to bring the families to the police department in person. So we've done a lot of logistical work on the backside of things to do Zooms to still allow families to choose gifts for their kids. And it's the goal to provide each one of those families with a brand new coat for each child as well. So we are still accepting donations for coats and toys. We'll be starting that program as soon as this week because of all the time that will be needed for each individual family. So we're excited to be able to do that. It has taken some additional work, but it's certainly worth it, and something that we're always glad to be able to give back to the community. A number of other things that we're working on, community projects. We've got a project starting this Friday where we're having small groups of our police officers meet with different community members, including some of the pastors from the community, to have conversations about what we can do as a police department to better connect with our community and our community members, and really just an opportunity to have an open dialogue about what the police department does and why we do things, and to get feedback from the community on what they'd like us to see us do and what we can improve upon. So I'm excited about that. That starts again this Friday and will be an ongoing program. There's a whole number of other things, but those are the most immediate things we have going on. And I appreciate you all having me here today, and I look forward to participating in more future meetings. So thank you.
Chief, I do have a question for you. One of the projects that we're doing is we're doing 100 little service projects for the year, and one of those is we're collecting coats. So if you could put in the chat where we could drop off coats, I think it'd be a great place so that we could partner together. Sure. And do this coat drive together. So if you could put in the chat where those coats could be dropped off, that would give us an idea of how to help.
We'll do that, and just also know that if there's something we can do if we can also come pick them up or facilitate it as best we can to make it easiest for anyone to get them to us. So, but I will definitely add that information in the chat.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else with some good news for the day? Go ahead, Sharon.
I am now a septuagenarian. Happy to have lived this long.
Luck.
Thanks.
This is Ginger. I just wanted to remind everybody that the applications for the grants, the local grants, are due by December 12th. We've only had one application so far. So we just got a couple more weeks before we're going to be making those allocations.
I see a note in the chat about where do we get that application. It is on the Rotary of Carbondale website, and we'll make sure we send that out in a follow-up as well. Any other good news for the day? Seeing none, we'll move back over to the PowerPoint here. Sergeant at Arms, Mr. White, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I thought there were a couple of December birthdays, but they flashed through so quickly I didn't get names of individuals. So, but Sharon, since you're right on the edge of November, December, you know, our club's tradition is to make a generous contribution. So welcome to the 70s. And I think we can count your contribution as either November or December, depending upon what Jim Grant may need. As you know, December is my month for matching contributions. So Jim, you can use your discretion how it might need to be applied. And then if there were December birthdays, please join in continuing our tradition. One fine I think that might be in order, and I wasn't aware of it until just a few minutes ago, but Mike Neal, I didn't realize that you confiscated all the club's funds back in that year to use for one single purpose. So I think that might be deserving of a fine on your part.
Yeah, but look, you amortize that over 25 years, we got our money back, right? I think it's a good investment.
I'll let you do the math on what you think might be appropriate.
All right, I'll do it.
Is there interest on that fine over those 25 years though?
Interest rates are low now, I can tell you. We're under 1%.
We're not doing an audit, so you're safe with whatever information you choose to give to us.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Now it's time for our guest speaker, Mr. Gary Shafer of the Southern Illinois Airport. I've got his slides here, and Gary, if you'd like to introduce yourself, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First of all, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not very good at this tech stuff, as Brooke knows, so I'm going to rely on Rick to help me with this. Introductions. I'm the airport manager at the airport here between Carbondale and Murfreesboro. I've been so for almost 40 years now, and I'm currently in my 42nd year at the airport facility. Ohio boy, go Buckeyes. However, I did get a master's from SIU, so go Salukis. First of all, I'd like to thank Gayla for inviting me to speak to you folks. And I appreciate the opportunity to do so. I also wanted to acknowledge a board member we have on the call today, which is Mike Kimmel. So Mike's a longtime member of the airport board, and I certainly appreciate his involvement in council on matters that come before us. And finally, I wanted to acknowledge before I get into this presentation that we have a really strong development partner that's part of the group today. It's Egyptian Electric. The three people that I see on the screen here are Shane, Brooke, and Brad, and I appreciate their involvement directly and the overall involvement of Egyptian Electric in what we're trying to do at the airport. I guess you might say we tend to lie below the radar out here. We don't create a lot of fuss for ourselves. That's both good and bad, I suppose. It's in my nature to prefer that place. If we don't toot our horn loud enough, it's probably my fault for that. However, this presentation will give you a good look at what we're underway with at the airport. Happy to take questions at any point in time. And with Rick's assistance, we'll move through roughly 20 slides that detail what's happening on the field. Rick, if we go to the next. We'll start out with a few facts about the airport. Let me point out that this diagram is orientated north and south. DeSoto's on the top of the diagram here, and Hickory Ridge Golf Course is on the south end. Just a few facts you can read for yourself. Important ones I'd like to point out is that we were founded in 1946. And there was a physics professor at the university who was integral in making that happen. His name was Otis B. Young, nuclear physicist. And 15 people from Murfreesboro and Carbondale got together to plan the strategy for creating this facility. And the intent was to create this airport and close the one that was housed in downtown Carbondale, where Lewis Park Apartments sit currently, and to close the airport in Murfreesboro, which was located adjacent to Route 127. And we finally opened in 1950 on June 1st, after several years of development. And today, after a very small start, we're the 5th busiest airport in the state of Illinois. There's about 170 airports that are open for public use. We certainly have SIU's activities to credit for a good deal of that activity. And we're one of the largest physical plants south of Chicago at airports in the state. And you can see on the diagram here the campus that we have, which is right at 1,200 acres at the moment, most of which is usable property. Currently, the airport has about 26 buildings on the field, most of which we own. There's about 20 tenants on the airport. About 350 people go to work out here for the various tenants. And then we have about 800 students between aviation and automotive that come to the airport for their classwork, whatever that might entail. And so it's a busy place. There's a lot of people out here, and we're fairly proud of where we are today. We'd like to point out the red dots that you see on and diagram that, or the boxes that you see on here, and we'll talk about some of these in more detail, but the red identifies all of the projects that are currently underway at the airport, some of which we'll have slides on, some we don't. One that we don't have a slide on is at the bottom right-hand corner. There's a box down there that identifies a building that we own that's occupied by a company called Yates Awning. They bought the old Hakes Awning, Larry Hakes, some of you might remember. They bought the Hakes Awning business. They've moved it to the airport. They're a successful little business. We are attempting to help them grow, and we've been able to get 2 grants from USDA and DRA to assist in their development. So we're excited for Yates Awning. They're extremely busy right now. They tell me that COVID has switched their business from mostly commercial awnings to residential awnings now. So people are asking for a lot of awnings at their homes now, which they're providing, but they're doing a lot of commercial awnings still in the tri-state area. Anyway, Yates Awning, a tenant of the airport, in the box at the bottom right-hand corner. I believe, one other comment I wanted to make about the employment at the airport. Of the about 350 people who work out here, 146 of those work for the university. So there's a good deal of people who work here that are not associated with SIU, which, as most of you know, is our major tenant. We can move on, Rick, to the next slide. One of the things, before telling you what's underway right now, I wanted to tell you a little story about what happened recently. This road, if you've driven south of the, you'll see Airport Road. That was completely transformed and rebuilt over the last 3 years. This was a significant effort. It involved 4 different funding agencies and 5 different jurisdictions. It was a major undertaking. It has essentially provided, for those that might use this road on the call here today, it provides essentially a bypass around the north side of Carbondale. There's a significant amount of traffic on this road as people shortcut, if you will, around Carbondale. We were able to go about 3,500 with this road. It's 2-lane, 70-mile-an-hour design. Most of the students test that when they come to the airport, it seems. And we've recently been contacted by the county, who would like to work with us on improving the road where we left off out to Route 51. So improving the road to highway standards to Route 51 is the next project that involves that road, and then you'll have a true bypass around the field. If we could move to the next slide, Rick. This is the overall road development plan at the airport. We completed everything that you see in light green. We're currently involved in a project to move the road that's in red. And then the roads that are in dark blue, purple, and we'll say light blue are in the future and will involve other jurisdictions. But the road at the south end in dark blue is the one that I just referred to as the next one to be improved on the field. And that'll provide your true bypass then, if you will, around the north side of Carbondale. If we could move Rick to the next one. Okay, a little bit about what's happening now. This is our second largest development period in the airport's history. As you can see on this slide, we have about 10 development projects underway, $24.5 million, with about 11 million of that provided by grants and almost 10 million of that provided by private investment. The balance is made up by borrowings by the airport, and we continue to seek out grant funds that will reduce that borrowing. So a significant amount of development for what's turned out to be very little local cost. Rick, if we could move on. Here's a snapshot of the main campus of the airport. In a nutshell, everything that you see in the color other than blue is what's being developed at the current time. The new jobs that are associated with this development total, while the graphic's not quite right, it totals 151. New jobs that will be coming to the airport associated 3 new businesses, and I'll describe those in a minute. Before moving to the next slide, though, let me just mention building number 22, which is in yellow. That building will be developed by a company called Air Methods. Air Methods is the air ambulance provider for the region. They are contracted with SIH to provide their trauma care to and from the hospitals that SIH manages. They tell me that they operate between 30 and 40 flights per month, so they're fairly busy. And they have, from an aviation perspective, they have the most functional helicopter in the area because it can fly not only in nice weather, but in foul weather. So they're able to transport passengers who need to go in almost any weather conditions, which is a significant advantage. They have about 17 employees on the field. They work 24/7, and that helicopter will get a new home inside of a hangar that they're developing at their own expense in the area identified by number 22. Rick, if we can then move on. Okay, to zoom a bit on the development that's underway. Let me point out first that we have a building we refer to as Hangar 9. It currently has 3 tenants in it, Code 1, Galaxy, and Crucial. I'll tell you each of those. What we're trying to do now is build Hangar 11 and Hangar 10, and then move Galaxy into Hangar 11 and move Crucial into Hangar 10. That'll free up Hangar 9 then for Code 1, which is important to their further growth. And we'll come back to these hangars in further slides. So Rick, if we could, thank you. Hangar 9, Code 1 Aviation is our tenant in that facility. They work on these kinds of airplanes. They basically rehabilitate old military vintage aircraft. And they do it for several customers. The air show industry likes to use these airplanes in their presentations. They also do work for the Department of Defense And so these airplanes are equipped and modified by Code One Aviation, and they basically have war games with our fleet in the Department of Defense, and they do that at various places around the country and over the ocean. And then the third customer that they build and rehab these airplanes for are frankly wealthy individuals who need a toy like this in lieu of a Ferrari, I suppose. And they work on airplanes like this owned by private individuals. We're fortunate to have these folks on the field, and by getting Crucial and Galaxy out of their hangar, these folks are going to be able to take over the entire facility and grow their company and add 18 more jobs to their workforce. So we're excited to have Code One participating. They work on these kinds of airplanes. Here's a picture of the inside of their hangar and some of the Czechoslovakian L-39s, which are pictured in this photo and in the previous photo. And those are the ones that they work on primarily. So the L-39 aircraft, which is pictured here. That's Code One Aviation. Next, please. Hangar 2, which you see shown on this diagram, is also under construction right now. Hangar 2 is designed to complement the hangar just north of that, which has the barrel-shaped roof on it. And that'll be operated by the airport's what's referred to as a fixed base operator, essentially a gas station for airplanes. Those hangars will work together to satisfy the current future needs of their operation. 12,000 square feet. Rick, if we could go to the next one. Another party on the call today I see is Gail White, White Borgononi. White Borgononi is designing all of the structures that we're talking about today on the field. And this is an example of the hangar 2 that I've mentioned that'll be going up or is going up right now. The airplanes that you see on this presentation are representative of the ones that we have to accommodate. We currently have no hangar space available for jet aircraft of the size that you see on this slide. We get periodic requests from turboprop and jet operators who want their airplanes put in overnight because they're very expensive and we can't accommodate them. So Hangar 2 satisfies that need that we get that we can't presently accommodate. Among those customers is frankly Governor Pritzker, who's in here quite a bit. And when they come in, they bring a jet in similar to what you see there, and we unfortunately can't accommodate him overnight. Or even for a few hours if there's a storm in the vicinity, they like to get inside. So Hangar 2 will do that for us, and we'll be able to add one more person to the payroll as a result of the increased capacity there. Rick, thanks. Hangar number 11 is currently under development. It is intended for Galaxy Aviation. It's 26,000 square feet, and it's designed to accommodate what's called single aisle or narrow body jets that are operated by the airline fleet. An example of what you see in this representation. If we could move to the next slide. Galaxy is going to be undertaking what's called A and B checks, which is referred to as light maintenance on aircraft. It's a little more sophisticated than taking your car to, say, a Valvoline facility, but it's fairly similar in nature. So light aircraft maintenance performed on narrow body aircraft that you see represented here is what Galaxy's business is. They are company that's organized by individuals out of Daytona Beach, Florida, and Goodyear, Arizona. The fellow out of Goodyear is actually a graduate of the program here, so he's excited about coming back home, if you will, to get involved in this endeavor. Galaxy presently on the field, and I'll tell you a little more about them in a few slides. But their objective in Hangar 11 is to perform light maintenance on aircraft of this type. I would also point out that the Boeing 757, which you see in the bottom right-hand corner, is typical of the largest airplanes that we can accommodate out here on a regular basis. It's also an example of the airplane that President Trump brought in here back in, I think, 2017, maybe. That's the largest airplane that hangar is designed to accommodate. If we could go to the next slide. Crucial Aviation will operate out of Hangar 10. You can see where it's associated next to Hangar 11. And Crucial's business, if we can go to the next slide, is to perform heavy maintenance, what's referred to as heavy maintenance on regional jet aircraft, C&D checks, industry lingo. This is heavy maintenance. This is essentially take the airplane apart and put it back together, checking all systems as you do that. It takes several weeks to accomplish this to each aircraft. And that's the game that they're in. They work on regional jet aircraft, which seat between 50 and 120 passengers, while Galaxy works on airplanes that'll seat between 120 and 250 passengers. They both engage in the activity that you see represented on this slide, which is aircraft teardowns. Both Galaxy and Crucial do this kind of work currently. Crucial based out of St. Louis, Missouri. And this is an example of aircraft teardown. You can see the parts scattered about the ramps here and what the skeletons of the aircraft look like essentially once they're disassembled. Essentially, they get 1,500 parts off of an aircraft of this size. Those those parts are certified, sold back into the industry on a worldwide basis. And while it may be a little discomforting to know this, airplanes essentially are flying around on used parts, and they come from skeletons such as these. So they're both in the aircraft teardown business, and there'll be some of that activity on the field as well. Next slide, please. The new terminal building is coming, presently under development at the airport. The terminal building is approximately 10,000 square feet. It's designed to look like an old vintage aircraft hangar. White and Borgononi, once again, are the architects for this project. You can see representations of here. And then the largest single feature inside of, largest single feature inside of this building will be the restaurant and brewery, which is field. And so really can't identify who that is at the they're locked in. And the restaurant and brewery will be occupying quite a bit of this space and will actually be brewing beer on site in the terminal building. So we're excited to have them here. That building should be done about a year from now. And we'll hopefully welcome the Rotary Club to the airport at some point for one of your Wednesday meetings. Beer optional, of course. Next slide, please. Okay, the airport is a property manager as well as an aviation facility. We have, as I mentioned, 1,200 acres. A good deal of that is available for development. What you'll see on this diagram in green is the non-aviation development. This is non-aeronautical, warehouses, office buildings, distribution facilities, those kinds of structures. You can see that on the main campus area, our intent is to build to the south. The area down the middle of the airport is designated for all the non-aviation development that we can attract. It's parceled out. It's designed essentially like an industrial park. And the intent here is to fill that space with non-aeronautical developments. The blue areas are aviation related. They are designated as such in the main campus area because they have direct access to the runways and taxiways. And so our intent there is to attract further companies like Crucial and Galaxy and Code One to the airport and occupy that space. Our property in green is available for sale or lease, and the property in blue is available for lease. On the far right side, you can see a large blue area. That can actually be green in places and blue, but I colored it blue for discussion purposes. We currently have several green activities occurring inside the blue. And as a result, we can go either way with property, sale, lease, in whatever size parcel can be accommodated. Several hundred acres of development available. One of the most recent development that's now close to finishing is the development of a 14-acre solar farm on the field. And that solar farm is at our southeast corner, as you can see on this diagram. And if Rika, we can move to the next one. There is a photo. This is the acre solar field going in right now. This is a company called GRNE out of Chicago. This will be the largest solar farm in Southern Illinois to date. And the intent here is to feed the power that's developed. I think it's 2 megawatts to feed that back into the grid. And so it's being connected at the moment to the Egyptian electric substation, and Brad's directly involved in those connections. And it's fairly well finished at this point. And we're waiting on interconnectivity at this time, but that's functional. These are rotating panels, and so they'll rotate from east to west and follow the sun as it tracks across the sky. And that's at our southeast corner of the airport. Next slide, please. In addition to the solar farm that was developed privately, the area up in the top corner, top center here is boxed in by yellow is IESO. IESO is the medical marijuana provider and now recreational marijuana provider for Southern Illinois, one of the cultivation facilities here. They are a significant employment source, about 105 at the moment. They're hiring another 20 people for this facility. And if you get a chance, if you ever have to take a tour of this, I'd recommend it. It's far more scientific than you might assume. It's a lot more than just growing plants. They're up to 85,000 square feet. Added a $5 million expansion on this facility, largely to attract the recreational industry to their product. If we can move to the next slide, Rick, you'll see an aerial photo, a recent aerial photo of their facility. They use a greenhouse style for growing their plants. All those greenhouses are shown there on the left. The production facility is in a more conventional building there. Once again, White Borgononi is the architect of record for much of this development. And they occupy 10 acres at the moment, and they've asked for another 6-acre option as they consider phase 3, which would be a $10 million development. And they're watching the market both in Illinois and elsewhere to see whether or not to proceed with phase 3, which will also significantly increase their employment. One final point I'll make as I close up here is that we do grow pot on the airport. It is both medical and recreational at the moment. And one of the claims to fame that we'll have next year at this time is that we'll be the only airport in America that not only brews beer, but grows pot on the airport. So kind of a significant and interesting claim to fame, I suppose. So hope you'll come out. You're welcome. We're happy to give tours of the facility. And of course, we'd welcome a Rotary meeting when we're allowed to get back together again, and we'll do that in the new terminal building, hopefully. Next slide finishes up, I think. Full development plan for the airport. The orientation here is on the right is north and on the left is south. And the little dotted pink area down there is the solar farm. And you can see the main campus there between our 3 runway complex and the development. Some of the development is currently underway on the field, but that's ultimate build out of the airport here. And I believe with that, I met your 20-minute requirement, and I'm happy to take any questions if it's appropriate.
I'm not seeing or hearing any questions right now, Gary, but I think it's incredible the development that you guys have there. Now, you said you're the 5th largest airport in Illinois.
Fifth busiest.
5th busiest. Okay, 5th busiest. How do we have that in this market? I mean, we're not, we aren't necessarily the bustling metropolis that Chicago is, where they've got really three airports in Illinois with the, I believe it used to be called the Executive Airport and Midway and O'Hare. You know, how have we gotten that busy?
Well, 3 of the airports busier than we are in Chicago. O'Hare, Midway, and an airport called Chicago DuPage Airport. The 4th airport is located in East St. Louis, and it's called St. Louis Downtown Airport, and then we're 5th. It largely is to the credit of the university, which has a large presence on the field. They have 39 airplanes in their fleets. They have 300 flight students. They're at record capacity out here. In fact, a point I'll raise with you folks is they're at capacity. If there was any way to add more employees, more faculty, I should say, and more aircraft, they'd be busier even than they are currently. They typically fly on average about 11,000 flight hours a year, but they're so busy right now that they're doing that each semester. So if you look at the skies around this area, especially on Monday and Thursday nights, you're going to see them full of airplanes because of the intense flight training that's going on right now. While the industry might be down along with the rest of the country, there's a bright future for these students in not only aviation and automotive programs. And as a result, they just continue to come to SIU, which, as most of you know, have world-renowned programs. The automotive program is also at capacity. They're currently at 300 students, and they have enormous industry recognition for what they're able to accomplish. So one of our goals in this area is to move beyond aviation development and get into automotive development now. And so we're working with some of our economic development partners to identify automotive industry that could be moved to Southern Illinois and take advantage of this research and training facility that we have here on the field.
Gary, this is Julian Pay. I got 2 questions. The people that are employed at Galaxy and Crucial, what kind of education and training do they have, and what kind of money do these people make?
Great questions, Julie. And As part of our effort to attract grants, so we were able to get some substantial grants to build these facilities. We had to prove up that kind of information. And the average salary for a maintenance mechanic in this country that they'll be hiring is $52,000. There'll be approximately 100 of those hired between these two companies. And many of those will be able to come from what the university develops in their programs. And then the senior people will be moved in from the outside. So they'll actually be hired in from the industry. Right now is a great time to hire, as you may know. So by the time these buildings are ready to go, which will be end of April and most likely August or September of next year for Hangar 10, the industry will still be ripe with available mechanics, and a number will move in, and then we'll graduate a number of them out of the program too.
Has anybody approached you in regard to construction of some housing for the students and the people that work there?
Yes, we've had discussions with some developers. I personally would like to encourage more discussion on that area, in that arena. And as I'll point out something on the diagram that you see here, if you look at, we'll call it sort of a light orange or pink area right down the heart of the airport. And Rick, I don't know if you can move your cursor over there to show where that is, since you control this. Yeah, if you'll come, yeah, right, you just passed it. If you go to the right there of that circle, right there, there's the housing area that we would like to encourage, Julian. It lies directly south of the main university buildings on the field. Duplex style housing is what we'd like to encourage. We've surveyed the students. 62% of them said they have an interest in living on the airport. And that's the area, about a 10-acre parcel that we've identified for possible development.
Okay, thanks for the information.
Welcome. And we welcome additional interest in our development parcels. Those are shown in yellow. And those would be non-aviation related developments. So if you know anybody growing in the area or wants to grow in the area, we're certainly interested in attracting them to the airport.
I have a question. Will there be any other food brought in other than just what's at the restaurant?
I missed the very first part of that question.
Will there be any other food service available other than just the restaurant?
No, at this point in time, that's the only plan, is to have a full service restaurant and a craft brewery in the terminal building. And I should say that the business that's coming is an established regional facility right now. So they're well known in the area, and this will be their third location.
Gary, Christine McGuire here. When do you anticipate the new terminal building will be constructed and open?
The contractor for the terminal building is H.E. Mitchell out of Harrisburg, Illinois. And they're telling us that it should be finished, weather and material delays notwithstanding, should be finished by August or September of next year.
Oh, great.
With the terminal, on pace to be completed, are there charter flights that are flying out of the airport, or is there a potential for this airport to take on some regional flights or commercial flights?
There's no active effort by the airport in trying to encourage that. Quite frankly, without a long story here, service into small communities is difficult at best. And the area essentially has the level of air service it's likely to see in the foreseeable future with the services provided at Marion. So there's little opportunity left in today's world for small community air service, unless it's point to point, and we're not currently working on anything that would fulfill that. There's a lot of desire for Chicago service, I'm aware, and we've had discussions in the past about that. So those are the only kinds of things that that might be of interest to us in pursuing. In the meantime, we're just so busy with everything else we're doing. It's not an active effort on our part.
Gary, do you still have a charter service at the airport?
We have charter services that use the airport. So whenever someone needs to go somewhere, we can make arrangements for them to do that. This would be private transportation, though. So it's on the upper scale of expense. It's even more expensive than first-class airline fees.
Are the planes based somewhere else?
Yes, in today's aviation world, you pretty much put out the call, and an airplane comes in and picks you up and takes you where you need to go. The airplanes are so mobile these days; they're not really stationed anywhere anymore. It's sort of the nature of the industry.
All right. Well, thank you, Gary. And I don't hear or see any more questions popping up. So this was incredibly informative. I think the last I had heard of the airport, they were closing certain things down, and it's great to hear the significant improvements and expansion that's happening here. So we really appreciate it.
Thanks for the opportunity.
So moving into what's happening next week with the Rotary Club of Carbondale, we have our very own Sierra Allen doing a presentation on the Grace Movement, and then Jane Ott of Moms Demand Action on the 16th. Reminder, we are off for Christmas and New Year, so enjoy that time with your families. See the chat popping up. Okay. It's time for the four-way test, and I believe he's still on the call here. Carl, could you please lead us in the four-way test?
Absolutely. Would you all please join me in the Rotary four-way test of the things we think, say, and do? First, is it the truth? Second,
is it fair to all concerned?
Third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
And four,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Stay
Carl.
safe, everyone. Stay safe.
All right.
Ding.
See you next week.
See you.
See you. Thank you.